Hello, everyone. Dan here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a review for Kill Your Darlings #2. This is a new book from KLC Press and Image Comics. Let's talk about the creative team before we get into this book. This book is written by Ethan Parker and Griffin Sheridan, with art by Robert Quinn and letters and design by John J. Hill. Um, so we continued this book. I was very excited to read the second issue because I really enjoyed the first issue. I thought it presented some really solid and interesting ideas. I think the world that it's building, it's creepy. There's a fun, entertaining story, and it leaves a lot of questions to be asked. So what I was expecting from this issue, and I think it really delivered in solidifying and cementing some more of those ideas, continuing to build out this world in a few ways. There's a few parallel stories going on. We know there's a story from way back in time, as it opened in issue 1. We continue that story here, and we'll see some preview art for that. And then we also continue to follow Rose and her journey. Now, I have a quick theory about some stuff that I'll talk about later on, so stay tuned for that. But in this issue, the terrifying new saga continues. After the fateful fire, Rose finds herself a social outcast. As whispers of murder and insanity plague her, she begins to question everything she's experienced. Will the truth of that night confirm the grisly rumors, or will reality prove to be even stranger? Um, yeah, I mean, like I said, this book, I didn't know where it was gonna go after the end of the first issue. Rose is there. She she's lost her house, she's lost her mom, everything. Her world is upside down. And then the meanwhile, she's also worried about if this imaginary, if these visions that she had, was any of that stuff real? Was any of that stuff the like in something that really affected the world, or is it all in her head? And we continue to explore those ideas. Now, one thing I do want to mention, and let's go look at the art. Bob Quinn is doing such an amazing job with, first of all, differentiating the time eras, right? This is a couple of pages from another flashback that we see. We continue to explore that world that we saw at the beginning of issue #1, that timeline, to explore what some of these themes and powers that are being explored here are. So first of all, very cool coloring, like very bright, very different from the world that we see from Rose. As we move on, and I don't have anything too spoilery, but we see Rose is at this institute, and they're trying to help her, but just so many visuals of like Rose being by herself, and this is a time jump. 8 years have passed from the events of the first issue. As you can see, she's older, um, and still just like the little, I think the visuals of the pills and the medications and things that are like just really bring to life that there's trouble going on. She is a troubled individual, and the world kind of treats her as such. Now that she's here, we have a very quick scene with the director of the institute talking about some of the, explains what the institute is, but in doing so, it also elaborates on how the world sees Rose, that she has to be there, right? And then Rose sitting by herself, not a lot of hope. She does get a visitor later on. I won't go too much into details. It is somebody from issue 1, so I'm glad to see that there's still at least a connection. But then after that, the issue gets really bonkers. Think of a kind of a Great Escape, but in a way more magical uh, tone. So I really enjoy this. I don't know what's gonna happen next. I have a theory, and I don't know that this is gonna come to fruition, but I'm gonna throw it out here, and you guys let me know what you think. So for those, and this is a little behind the, inside baseball, behind the scenes. For KLC subscribers, we knew that this book was coming. It was titled Project 8. Now, at the beginning of the book, Rose is 8. And now 8 years have passed. So is every issue gonna skip 8 years in between? We know this is gonna be a limited series. Um, so my thinking is that is every issue like 8 years are gonna happen, and they could do this various ways, right? They can keep Rose not aging the same because maybe she goes back to that fantasy world, I don't know. I just thought it was an interesting idea of why the title would be called Project 8. So we'll see what happens. Stay tuned in the chat. Let me know if you think that's a valid theory. So if you have read this issue, let me know what you thought about it down in the comments. Stay tuned. We have some covers, a really cool Ryan Stegman cover, variant cover for this issue that's you'll see at the end of the video. So stay tuned for that. And as always, thank you for watching, everyone. Remember to share, like, subscribe, hit the bell so you know when we go live. That is most Saturdays, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. Stay tuned. We have more comic reviews, trailer reactions, TV recaps, all that fun stuff here in the channel. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye-bye.